brand new edition of T Watches a Scary Movie. My name is T, and of course we are talking scary movies. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new episode. Remember, new episodes are guaranteed to go up every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But as I always release a bunch of reviews throughout the week, the best way to stay up to date on all the horror content that I have coming out for y'all is to get subscribed to my Linktree. And you can do that by going to linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get to my Linktree and get subscribed to that, that'll get you access to my YouTube page for the video versions of the show. Make sure to hit subscribe there. To your favorite podcasting platforms for the audio-only versions of the show, make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening to. To my TikTok page for my short horror videos where I'm usually putting out movie news as well as premiere footage when I get to go see something brand new that's coming out. I always like to record a little video, so hit subscribe there. And of course, to my Letterboxd page where you can see my written reviews and my rankings throughout the year. Of course, hit subscribe there as well. Hit subscribe wherever you will follow me at, folks, because I have so much fun horror content coming out for you. It helps me out, helps me go to create more stuff for you. Again, just hit that subscribe button wherever you're looking or listening to this show from. So what are we talking about tonight? I just got done the other day bringing y'all a review for the 2008 remake of Prom Night. It is April, folks. It is the beginning of prom season. And I had taken a look at the original Prom Night a couple of years back and decided it was finally time to get around to some of the other entries in this franchise. And so I decided I was going to hit the Prom Night remake, and tonight's film I'm talking, Hello Mary Lou Prom Night 2. That is what I'm going to be talking about here tonight. And who knows, y'all give me enough interest on it. Tell me you want to hear it, you want to see it. I might have to go and take a look at the other Prom Night entries as well, because I always knew there was a Prom Night, the original Prom Night and the Prom Night 2, but I had to have forgotten that not only was there a third Prom Night, The Last Kiss, but apparently there's a fourth one, Deliver Us from Evil. A fourth one that I absolutely did not know existed out there at all. So, folks, you let me know. You go and tell me on the Prom Night review I did just the other day. Tell me on this one. Do you want me to take a look at Prom Night 3 and 4? If I get enough interest, I'll take a look at those. But I just want to say this really quickly as well, too, y'all. If there's something else you want me to take a look at, you want me to review, let me know in the comments section, because I love just going back and finding movies that either I've seen before or ones maybe I haven't got a chance to get around to. Let me know that in the comments section. I'll definitely check some other stuff out here. But again, tonight we are talking Prom Night 2. Now, from the jump, what makes this such an interesting sequel is the fact that it has nothing at all to do with the original film. Now remember, the original movie told the story of a young girl that gets killed while playing a game with a bunch of her friends. The friends all decide that they're going to cover it up and not tell the truth about what happens. Remember, these are all children, by the way, not even teenagers. These are young children that decide to do this. And later on, the brother of the little girl who unfortunately dies decides to take revenge and kill all of the kids who covered this all up. It's not the best slasher that's out there. It's an interesting one for the time, for sure. And I had mentioned that it's also a very different role for Jamie Lee Curtis in this kind of movie. It's good. It's a good enough watch, but I had said I enjoy Terror Train a lot more. But either way, Prom Night 2 doesn't follow up that storyline. And that's kind of okay, because in the chronological order of me seeing these, I had seen the original film, I had seen the remake, then I had seen Prom Night 2. And if you listen to my review of the Prom Night remake, that doesn't follow the story of the original film. It's one of those remakes that decides to basically just do its own thing. And the idea, kind of like the Wrong Turn remake, is that it's just taking the core concept of something terrible happens to a group of teenagers on their prom night. And in that aspect, it definitely works. Or even like the Black Christmas movies, which I say is just about a group of young women in college that are targeted by men, and the story goes from there. Like, you're just taking elements and telling that story. But Prom Night 2 kind of goes with that idea that the remakes does, because it doesn't have anything at all to do with the original film. Instead, this tells the story of young Mary Lou Maloney, who is she is going on to become prom queen at her school back in 1957. But Mary Lou Maroney is very much a sexually empowered young woman who knows what she wants, and she's going to get what she wants. That's established very earlier on, as she is on a date with the unpopular Billy Nordham, who is very much a square in every sense of the word. And we find out that while she is dating Billy, that she is also hooking up with Buddy Cooper, which obviously brings some kind of thrill to Mary Lou, because she knows what she's doing and makes it clear that she's only with Billy due to the money and the connections and everything. Unfortunately, Billy, having found out about Mary Lou's promiscuous ways, decides that he's going to take some revenge and throw a stink bomb at her, which sets her dress ablaze, and Mary Lou dies in a horrific fire. Now, 30 years later, young student Vicky Carpenter manages to find Mary Lou's prom dress and accessories and puts them on, and finds herself inhabited by the vengeful spirit of Mary Lou Maroney, who seeks to take her revenge on the town for everything that has happened. Now, from there, that's the plot of the movie. And I say that because as we get into this revenge flick of the ghost of Mary Lou taking over this young student and committing all these murders across students in this school, it's obviously very clear that there's not really a motive pushing Mary Lou to kill all these various kids. I mean, they weren't involved with what happened to Mary Lou so long ago. This is not even a case of the original Prom Night film, to where these kids have observed what happened to Mary Lou and she's getting revenge on them. Like, there's only really one person from that incident that's still around, who is now the principal of the school, as Billy has become the principal of Mary's high school, now played by Michael Ironside, hilariously enough. But it's kind of interesting because Mary Lou just decides to go after all these random kids instead, getting her revenge. And there's a very, very interesting message being told through this film for the time that it came out, because this came out in late 1987. And like I said, the character of Mary Lou Maloney is very much, she is sexually forward. She is very confident in herself, and she's very much showing that there's not a problem with having this kind of sexuality. And that's a very forward way of thinking for the time frame that this came out. And it's interesting that we kind of punish Mary Lou for that action, because as sexually forward as she is and how confident she is in her life, what happened? She's burnt to death because of it. She basically suffers the most because of her ways. And as the movie continues, Mary Lou kind of turns that around to all of her victims. She very much uses her sexuality as a weapon against all these people that she's killing, because she basically comes on to all of her victims across the movie. And I think that's a very, very interesting message to be sent, because you're not really punishing anybody so much for engaging in sexual activity, but it's more so that she's seeking to extract punishment on people for what she perceives as the punishment that she got for her sexually promiscuous ways. And so it makes the movie incredibly more interesting, because there's an actual message here being told, whether you agree with it or not. And I love the fact that our villain is the one who really has to push that, because typically there would be some character in there that's their goal, whether it's the lead guy or the final girl, somebody else who that's a big point of their plot in the story. And it's really not, because Vicky, who is like Mary Lou's avatar, most of the movie she's not herself. She's really inhabited by Mary Lou, so we can't really look at her character. So then we look at Principal Nordham's son, Craig, played by Justin Lewis, who you might know from Saw 4. And it's the same thing, where Craig's not necessarily that bad of a guy, and so he's not really looking for just sex from Vicky either. So it's just very interesting that the film pushes that as, look, if you have sex, this is what happens to you, but also the person who engaged in it is the one who's going to make you pay for all of that as well. It's kind of like they're internalizing their own pain at that point, that basically because they weren't allowed to, they're putting that revenge out on everybody else, which I'm sure is exactly the message that this movie's going for. But again, I love the fact that Prom Night 2 isn't apologetic about its message. It's very, very sexually forward at what it's thinking and what it's trying to say. And the fact that, no, Mary Lou might not have been right about the way that she played Billy, and there was a better way to go about that, but ultimately something horrible happened to her just because she was very sexually free, and in turn, she has decided to turn that against everybody else. Everybody's problem is now her problem, and vice versa. Makes this a much more enjoyable story than the original Prom Night, if I'm being completely honest. I've said it numerous times before. I don't think the original Prom Night is a bad film by any means, but it wasn't what I wanted out of a slasher, honestly, which is the reason why there are parts of the remake that I do truly enjoy more. And Hello, Mary Lou is not a slasher in the strictest sense. It really is more of like a creature feature, honestly. Like, it has more in common with like Night of the Demons than it does the original Prom Night, honestly. I just enjoy that kind of tale a little bit more because I don't think trying to go for another possible whodunit, which is not even really what the first movie is, but I don't think going down that pathway for a sequel really would have worked out here. And choosing to go the complete opposite direction and just make it as outlandish as possible, to me, seems like a wise decision for the franchise to go. And honestly, it makes me really interested to check out parts 3 and 4 to see if they kind of keep that trope up, because I wouldn't want it to go back to the more subdued nature of the original film. I think Mary Lou's an icon. I really, really do. And I know at least the third film features that character. So I'm interested to see if they can keep the energy of this second film up, especially as this second movie doesn't really end here on a positive note. Like, the first movie very much leaves things off as everything's good at that point. You know, our remaining alive characters, they're okay. There's nothing to worry about here. But part 2 obviously makes it very, very clear here that Mary Lou is still very much running the show, that the evil is not defeated. And so I am very intrigued to see if that storyline gets picked up in the third film. And maybe we'll find out. You let me know again in the comment section if you want me to check it out, and I definitely will, folks. But that's going to do it for me. I want to know your favorite Prom Night movie in that comment section as well, too. So definitely let me know. And I haven't forgotten, folks, this week I'm going to let you know who's going to ultimately win the Ghostbusters Stay Puft drink holder that I have here. I'm revealing that winner here later on this week. So make sure you're subscribing to find out if you won. And if you haven't, you still got time to get eligible. Go back to my Ghostbusters Frozen Empire review and let me know who your favorite Ghostbuster is and why. But that's it for tonight, folks. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared. Boy here is a big fan of Fangoria. So, if you want to check out the world's best horror magazine that's out there, get a chance to get yourself your own subscription, which I just got my first one back in 2022, and I don't regret it for a second. But if you want your own Fangoria subscription, or you like the Fangoria merchandise, then head over to the Fangoria shop and use my link if you want to save yourself some money, folks. That's an easy one to remember. Just go to shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW. Again, that's shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW, or use my specific code AXDEW at checkout. You can save 20% off your entire order, and that implies 2 subscription and one-time orders as well. You don't want to miss out, folks, because with the magnitude of horror movies we've had released in the last few years, and with what we have on the horizon, Fangoria is going to be your #1 source for all that great, juicy, bloody information in the world of horror. So again, head to shop
www.fangoria.com. Hey there, folks! Thanks for tuning in to T Watch This Scary Movie. I appreciate you checking out another review or movie news, whether we're talking movies, TV shows, books, or games, whatever, it's all scary. Remember, you can check out new episodes every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the YouTube page for video. That's youtube.com/c/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. Again, youtube.com/c/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. And you can check out the audio version on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search T Watch the Scary Movie or TWASM. Don't forget, my name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.